What is up, you guys? Coasters Arbisto 9 coming at you here to do a quick little review for you. Spoiler free, don't worry. Um, I wanted to do this when I had more time. I actually have to work in like a half hour, so I'm trying to throw this together really quick. I got a brand new phone too, so the quality should be much better on my videos from here on out. So yeah, I just wanted to throw this video together for you guys. I know a lot of people in the horror community have been talking about this. You guys know this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I did a top 10 list. This fell in it. So let's quickly talk about Pet Sematary. Yes, Pet Sematary 2019. So I wanted to see this Friday night. I had to close. I wanted to see this Saturday night. I had to close. Last night I worked at mid and I was like, I'm going to go see it fresh after work, so I did. Also wanted to real quick show you guys, I got a replica of the original Halloween's jack-o'-lantern tattooed on me. It is peeling. It's been like 4 days, so you can see all the peeling and stuff. It is in the healing process. Once it's like totally healed out, I'll show you guys a better look at it, but finally got my first like Halloween movie tattoo on me, so that's cool. But anyway, let's talk about Pet Sematary really quick. So basically, anybody that's familiar with the 89 movie or the Stephen King book pretty much knows the story. The Creed family moves into a farmhouse in Ludlow, Maine. They're a normal family at first. The daughter, Ellie, is like obsessed with death and what happens after death. They have a toddler named Gage, and Ellie loves her cat, Church, and they have a friendly neighbor, Judson Crandall, who is fantastic, by the way, in both movies. And that's the dynamic there. That's all the characters pretty much. Well, if you know anything about the movie before in the book, this isn't really a spoiler. Everybody kind of knows this. Ellie's cat dies. To protect her from it, her dad's not going to tell her. And Judd goes, hey, I have a place where we can bury the cat. And Lewis is basically like, whatever, cool, blah, 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 blah. Well, Church comes back. Lewis is like, WTF. Judd's like, now hold on, bro. I didn't say it would happen, but I didn't not say it would happen. So Lewis is kind of confused. Judd knows what the power of that place is, the Pet Sematary. And that's really what kicks off the story. Everybody knows that. Obviously, to backtrack a little bit, they moved there because he's a doctor, Lewis is. He wanted to get out of the big city life. They're trying to kind of start fresh. Obviously, you know that his wife, Rachel, is still dealing with the trauma from her childhood, her sister Zelda, which is one of the most iconic scenes in horror movie history for me, is Zelda from the original Pet Sematary. That was the stuff of fucking nightmares. That was nightmare fuel. So that's basically, a little bit of backstory. You see, she's dealing with this throughout the movie. Lewis is kind of trying to adjust and trying to make sure that this is what's best for his family, but shit keeps happening. That's really weird. His wife's not comfortable. His kids aren't comfortable. He's kind of not comfortable. And meanwhile, he thinks that Judd knows that something's up and Judd won't tell him. Well, if you guys had seen the trailers, which everybody has, this isn't really a spoiler, guys. They switched it around that Ellie was the one that died, not Gage this time around. Well, obviously, just like in the original, Lewis isn't ready to say goodbye to his daughter. So when his wife and Gage go to her parents' house so she can kind of, I guess, get away from it all, he buries her in the Pet Sematary. And from then on, you kind of know what comes next, but you don't, because this new movie is pretty original with its subject matter. So that's basically the premise. I know I was kind of scatterbrained and everything. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to be a little quick. Maybe I'll do a spoiler review. Depends on what you guys want to see. But I just wanted to get this review out there really quick. Basically, let's just talk about my pros and my cons for the movie. My cons. First off, I felt the beginning of the movie, the first act, kind of dragged. I felt like there was some unnecessary exposition that wasn't even really exposition, if that makes any sense. You're trying to set up these characters and build this world, but you're doing it kind of haphazardly. So in my opinion, it was, I could have done without the first act, or a rewrite in the first act, definitely. The kids with the masks that you see in the trailers that are like, wheelbarrowing a dead animal body, and they're like beating on the drum and stuff. You only see them one time. I mean, really. Which we didn't really get much explanation to that. You know that it's like a funeral procession that these kids hold for their animals when they die or whatever, but there's definitely something more sinister there, and you can tell when you're watching the movie, but they don't go into it. So it's like, oh, we're going to tease you with this, but I mean, we're not going to resolve it. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. What else? Oh, and this isn't really a spoiler, guys, because like I said, it's Ellie this time around instead of Gage, but I don't know how she stays as well intact as she did after she gets hit by that truck. I'm just going to say that. That was like the first thing I said to my fiance when we got out of the movie. I was like, how? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's not very realistic in that aspect with the impact of the truck and what it would do to her. I know why, before anybody comes at me, I know why. It's a very touchy subject. If you obliterate a child on screen, you are definitely opening the door for more criticism. So I get it. I know why, but still, for me as a horror fan, wouldn't have really bothered me that much. But whatever. And then my last con, and this was kind of a bummer, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, but Zelda, just nowhere near as memorable in this movie, which kind of impossible to be. That bar was set so high, and, for those of us who grew up with that movie, I mean, it scared the shit out of me. It probably scared the shit out of a bunch of you guys. So, you're going into this movie all right, I want to see what they do with Zelda. And, it's just, meh. I mean, it's not bad, but it's nowhere near as memorable. You don't even really get as good of a look as you want to at her for more than a second or two. It's just, it was okay, but kind of a bummer on the Zelda front. Aside from that, guys, my pros, and there's definitely more pros than cons when it comes to this movie. First of all, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of the original. I own it. Loved it since I was a kid. Scared the crap out of me. Having said that, I knew this was going to be different, and I was okay with that. You don't really compare a remake to the original so much when you go and see the remake, and you're like, wow, a lot of this shit is different. The subject matter and the basic plot of the family and what happens to the family to lead to this third act is similar, but this third act is fucking ballsy. I'm just going to put that out there. So yeah, right with the pros. The acting all around is pretty good. Pretty solid. I like Jason Clarke. Jete Lawrence, who plays Ellie, in my opinion, not super believable in the first act or two. Honestly, just kind of, There was actually 2 scenes where I was like, oh, come on. And I was like, sweet, she's going to be the killer. Awesome. And then in the third act, holy shit, was she awesome. I mean, she was awesome in the third act. I'm just going to say that right now. I think this girl had it in her mind that she was going to be a killer for this movie. So she was just ready mentally for that, because when that happened, she fucking turned it on. She was believable. She was creepy. There was lines where I was like, oh man, what the fuck? But yeah, so she did well when she needed to. She did really, really well. So I'll give her props. I think his wife, Rachel, is played by Amy Seimetz or whatever. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know the last name is Seimetz, but she did good. I mean, she did good. I liked her. I thought she was believable. I thought that she really showed fear and emotions like that. You believed her. I definitely believed her plight. So yeah. And then John Lithgow as Judd was awesome. I mean, I love John Lithgow. Most of you guys that know John Lithgow, and I mean, everybody knows John Lithgow. You've seen something he's in. He's a very, very popular actor. He was awesome as Judd. When we're comparing him to Fred Gwynn from the original, I can't say that yet. I would have to watch it more times, and it would have to, really digest with me over time to be like who I preferred. But I will say this right now, it's probably still Fred Gwynn. Sorry, hold on. My cat came in here. Get out. Cool. Right now, it's probably still Fred Gwynn, and that's just for the reason that, that's just such a memorable performance. And obviously I'm biased because of nostalgia, but I just thought Fred Gwynn did a great job in that movie. But that's not to take away from John Lithgow. I mean, there's probably a little more range with his character in this movie because, as great as Fred Gwynn was in that movie, let's be honest, John Lithgow was a better actor than Fred Gwynn was, which isn't a knock on Fred Gwynn. It's just true. So he does more with the character. There's more emotional range there with John Lithgow's version of Judd. But John Lithgow did awesome. I mean, he really, really did. The cigarette smoking, beer drinking, good old boy that Judson Crandall is. He did it great. So the imagery, the cinematography was awesome. I mean, I think that was probably my biggest positive about this movie was, get out, cat. Gosh. Sorry. He's trying to play. I'm not trying to play. I'm in a hurry. Keep it up. And I'm going to bury you in the Pet Sematary. Keep it up. Anyway. God, what was it? Oh, the cinematography. Yeah. The cinematography is beautiful. I mean, from the cemetery itself to a lot of like sweeping overhead shots. It really is, it really builds this atmosphere. So I give credit to the DP and the directors of the movie. I mean, what a great job visually. Like truly, it's a very visually pleasing movie. It's easy on the eyes. The score is solid. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. It's solid. Sometimes it accentuates the moments in the movie that are supposed to be tense, which is kind of what you need. So it did its job there. And finally, I mean, like I said, the third act. I mean, the third act is balls out. It took some balls to do what they did in this third act. Stephen King approved of it, so, I went into it going, okay, if Stephen King approved of it, I should go in open-minded. Even though I'm a huge fan of the original, I should. And this third act, man, when I say it's going to take you for a loop. I mean, it's going to take your expectations from having seen the original movie, and it's just going to shatter them. I mean, you're not going to know what to expect. Actually, there's a part in the third act where I thought I knew what was coming, and then I was like, actually kind of like, what the fuck? And I'm still digesting that third act. It's very different. I approve of it. I don't disapprove. It's a pro of mine, but it is incredibly different. So it's going to take some time for me to digest. But overall, guys, man, Pet Sematary is a very good movie. You can tell it was written with care, it was directed with care, it was acted with care. Although it is unfortunately a remake, which obviously is going to bog it down in a lot of horror movie fans' eyes because they're like, oh, it's just a retread of something I've already seen. It's not fair to go into it with that, guys. I promise you, it's a good movie. You can tell that this wasn't a cash grab. This was a genuinely heartfelt attempt at putting a Stephen King property into a modern adaptation and doing it right. Like I said, it's not perfect. It has its downfalls. And after I watch it more times, or, I'll go into a spoiler review and I'll probably tell you more about what I didn't like. There were a couple cons, as I told you. There's probably more that are just minor nitpicks, but they didn't really come to mind. But, I mean, it's a really good movie. There was probably a scene or two that made you jump. For me, there was only one, and it was, like, minor. I don't jump a lot. But like I said, in that third act, there are some scenes that are genuinely like just eerie and creepy and like bone chilling. And that's what makes a horror movie effective to me. So if you guys want my opinion, I approve of Pet Sematary 2019. I approve of it. I think you should go see it ASAP. Give that movie your money. Don't hate something for what it's not. If you want to hate it, go see it and then hate it for what it is. Don't hate it because it's not the original Pet Sematary. Go there, see it. If you hate it, you hate it. That's fair. But give it a chance. Give it a chance. because It Chapter 1, that didn't suck. Pet Sematary's got a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Doesn't suck. So go see this, guys. Go support this horror movement that we are in right now. We need these movies to do well. Go see this movie. Again, thanks for checking in, guys. Thanks for being subscribers of mine. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know if you want to see me do a spoiler review. Let me know what you want me to do next. Put it down in the comments below. I got to go to work. Coast RB 9 signing off.